on audio and video. Okay. Do you have any A&R plans? Nope. No building package. New business Spartan Race West. So we'll move that. Number 2, public hearing, St.Germain, Old Stage Road. You're up.
No, we can't, it's not up for this, unfortunately.
Okay.
Only because he's a public hearing.
So,
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm sorry.
sorry.
If he wasn't a public hearing,
So,
it's already posted, so anyone who wanted to come,
I'll
So we
have to
can do
move the
some-
rest of this around.
you can move the rest around.
Is there anything else that's a public hearing?
No, just that one.
It's written right
We can
there.
work with Jeff for a half hour. The legal thing, we really can't do without Jim, Attorney Beard,
Yeah.
so that one we're gonna have to put on hold. But maybe Spartan Race will be coming in, so we could, is that okay with you?
That's fine with me,
We could take him.
Yeah. So, you wanna introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Jeff Bagg. I'm a principal planner with the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. And I think there'll be a little bit of discussion of this, but the planning board has signed on for professional assistance with a variety of tasks through the district local technical assistance program through the state. So this is something where there was a previous person in this position for a couple months, and Mr. Smith left for another job, so I've been meeting with Dennis and Marianne 2 times so far, and spending some time in the office. And I've got a list of tasks that were previously prepared, and I think the goal of this meeting was to have a broader discussion with board members about those tasks. So I think it's the last item in your packet.
Everybody have a copy of this?
I think it might be the last page in your packet. No?
He's got it.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
So, basically, this list was generated with the previous planner with in mind the order of importance, so if we all wanna have, or if any of us have comments on it that we wanna move any of them around, omit, put a rush on, or get any feedback from everybody on it. We talked about this before. Phil had a lot to do with creating this list with his expertise, so if we wanted, did you want to go down the list? And we can discuss it line by line, or?
I think it's kind of self-evident. I would like to see us push this natural resource protection zoning along.
Which one is that?
That's
Phil?
number 8.
Number 8?
And I'm wondering the best way to do that, if we should contact Jeff Lacey ourselves, or whether we should go through Jeff, or... You have a suggestion on that?
Well, my understanding is that Jeff Lacey had initiated this natural resource protection zoning in Shutesbury, and then several communities throughout the state have kind of looked at it and adopted variations of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my understanding that he's come to you guys before. There is a draft bylaw, and my understanding is that Eric Smith had started to review it as well. So I'm happy to work on that, and I'm happy to contact Jeff Lacey and just touch base with him, and then if, you know, I don't know exactly how you would want to proceed, but maybe he could come to a meeting as well. I don't know how he gets paid to do any sort of services, but I'm certainly willing to look at that, it's on the list, makes sense, it's,
Yeah, because we were pretty close to
Right.
getting that done. And I think the funding ran out or something, and he wasn't able to come anymore.
Well, I think his boss was concerned about the number of night meetings he was attending, and I think he's still eligible to attend night meetings, but we should probably try to reduce the frequency of them so we don't get him in hot water. And maybe the board just needs to go over where we are with this particular potential zoning and resurrect it sometime in the fall. I think we're probably too soon to get anything on the agenda for a town meeting in the fall. I'm not sure there's even one scheduled, but certainly this has been in the works for 2 or 3 years. I'd like to get it set for the next town meeting, whatever that would be, probably in the spring.
yeah. I have experience bringing zoning amendments to town meeting, and so there's definitely the schedule and the lead up to it, and preparation and holding a public hearing. What I could offer is, basically the way it's set up is I'm gonna be having office hours here in town hall on Mondays. And the hours, I have a set of hours, a certain number of hours that I can spend with Barry. And what I could do over the next 2 weeks or so, just because it's limited office hours, is figure out where everyone left off, make sure I understand the bylaw, and then bring it in a couple weeks to this board, and we can have a discussion of its status.
That would be good, I
Okay,
think.
yeah, I think that's fine.
That would be a big help.
As far as the other ones, I don't know. I mean, would you want to comment, Jeff, on which ones you think are higher priority than others, or what would make the best use of your time? I mean, are you going to go beyond this current calendar year, or is that sort of in limbo right now, or?
My understanding, there's some budget things happening at the state with the governor, but my understanding is that there's funding for my position through December. So the idea is that I would try to conclude as many of these tasks as I could before December. Some of them have been started by
Right.
Eric Smith, so it's not that I'm starting totally from scratch. I think Dennis and I had a brief discussion that, on the left column here, attend planning board meetings and public hearings. We talked back in the end of June that might be better as needed.
Right.
Because that would take away time for me to work on other projects. But I am available to do that as well. Yeah, I think the rest of it is having you as a board look at the remaining items and help prioritize them.
Do you have any suggestions as far as priority? I guess we did this sort of in a, try to prioritize them as they're here, but we can
No,
move
but-
these around a bit. I want to make your time efficient.
If nobody objects, if you think you can accomplish some of them and get them out of the way, you can do that. You're the one that pretty much knows what you might be able to accomplish and most bang for the buck, I guess. Because we are on a schedule with you until December, so.
I know that there has been, so I should explain that this is coming from the state, so there's funding from the state, and I'm also doing a similar position with the town of Rutland. So it's really a shared planner
Mhm.
setup where I'm spending time with Rutland. It's split, it's 120 hours total. Some of it has already been expended though by Eric. So a couple of these things would work in tandem with that project. So like number 2, review the fee schedule and research comparables. That is something I'm doing with Rutland, and I could easily kind of roll it in here. Number 1, review bylaws and regulations and provide recommendations. It's a little vague, so I don't know if there is anything specific that the board was interested in.
Well, that bylaw thing might be the number 8 part.
Right, yes. if you look at number 7 and number 12, they have the blue arrow attached to them. I don't know how much that is of interest to the board, but smart growth tools and strategies, including affordable housing and economic development strategies for Quabbin Plaza and the Southbury Wool Complex is something that I could probably prepare a preliminary review of those two areas and provide preliminary recommendations. The note is that CMRPC is working on village center district bylaws for several communities, and so I don't think with the time left to be able to fully explore it, but it could be a preliminary review, if that's something that's interesting to the
Well,
board.
plus at the same time, they have, CMRPC was, I believe, helping to fund, the revitalization of, like, what was called the Barre Business Association. They had a meeting a couple weeks ago. I don't know if any of that can be played into this, but.
That's actually, I think, in a good way, and luckily, I think that's a separate project.
Yeah,
So it's a separate pool of funding, so that
Okay.
will continue on, separate from the work that I would do.
yeah, that was a grant for that, I think.
Yes, I believe so.
I think that come out of Complete Streets, maybe? No?
I don't know.
I know they're working on, the town is working on that as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Jeff-
so you.
Jeff,
I'm sorry.
Jeff, I would suggest taking a look at this number 3 and number 5, develop a sign bylaw, and then review and comment on the draft site plan review bylaw. That was actually Larry Adams of CMRPC helped us get started on that, but it was never completed.
Okay, number 5 was never completed?
Right.
Anything else?
If I can ask a question,
Sure.
number 11 is provide brief training on board roles, responsibilities, and planning principles. I don't know if that's something that's of interest to the board, or if any of you have gone to the citizen planner training collaborative sessions. I mean, so I don't know if that's important or not.
Well, I've been to those sessions, and I find them really helpful, and if the planning board does not attend that, it just seems a little superfluous to have you do this when it's available already. So I would encourage people, if you haven't gone, to take advantage of it.
What do they do, twice a year?
It's mainly in the spring.
Yeah, up at Holy Cross.
Right.
They talked about, so our office talked about two things coming up, which is the conference, the main conference is in March, and they have it for, it's a whole day. I've been there several times. They also do a separate set of trainings in the fall, usually, but they're scattered throughout Massachusetts, so I don't know geographically how many would fall in this
Yeah.
area, but there may be some at the
They
office
have
in
them at some of the
Worcester.
different fire stations.
Yeah, that they have, I mean,
Yeah,
some of them.
I went to
quite
one in
distance.
Holborn, Rutland.
Right, so that kind of makes sense then maybe to not focus on that, because
Okay.
it's available elsewhere.
Yep. Good point.
Jumping around a little bit, sorry, on the left-hand column, number 3, which is review submissions, subdivision plan, special permit, site plan applications. And I think that may be something that is perhaps on an as-needed basis, or I don't know if maybe the chairperson would make a determination that, you know, I would do that, spend a certain amount of hours to look at applications as they come in, if they're
Yeah,
substantial.
if they come up, when they come up, not if, because they will. Anything else, Phil?
No.
If you were done starting is here.
Yep. Okay.
I think just one more, looking at the list, I mean, to get your input while I have the opportunity, number 6 is suggest strategy for developing a master plan.
I think wasn't this something we were working on with Jeff Lacy?
Not a master plan,
Well,
no.
not a master plan, but with, yeah,
That
thank
was
you.
number 8.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
I think part of the strategy is getting money to fund it.
I was gonna
Because
say-
I know it's, it can be expensive, like $10,000 to $20,000 or more.
Yeah, or more, and I think that's key. I mean, I think that as part of a package I can give back to the board at the end of my time is looking at that, not spending a terrible amount of time on it, but it may be useful to see how other communities have approached it, knowing that it is a really significant process and it's expensive to do it. So what I would be able to do is not lay out the whole process, but I might be able to set the stage a little bit. I think typically you have opportunity to potentially contract directly to CMRPC for help,
Maybe we can find
but there's
a grant.
funding needed to go with that, but you don't need to go out for a request for proposal to use the regional planning agency.
Mhm.
So there's a fairly direct path if there were some funding behind that. Otherwise, communities have to go out and put out an RFP, draw in firms, do, you know, a bid opening and all that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Same
which
thing,
is a
maybe.
lot more expensive.
It could be.
I seen in the last couple of weeks, a couple other towns drawing in for this, and getting approved for it, so it's coming. That'll do it for tonight. So you'll get in touch with Jeff?
Yeah, and then I'll get in touch with Jeff, I'll review the draft, I know it exists and it's here. And then I can work with you, Dennis, to figure out when is an appropriate time to come to the board
Yeah, we'll
and
set it up.
and talk about it.
If some of us can make it during the day, if not, or whenever, come back at one of our meetings at night, however it works.
Okay, good.
Thank you. All right, moving along. Spartan Race.
Is it going down?
Hi, come on up. How you doing?
Good, how are you guys?
Good. Thanks for coming.
Should be pretty quick, though.
And you're gonna be, everything.
So gentlemen, as you know, we have the Spartan Race at the farm, August 13th and 14th. And to keep it brief, it's essentially gonna mirror nearly 100% what was done in June. Same traffic plan and parking plan. Worked with Chief Sauber and the new police chief. He signed off on all of our traffic and parking plans, same police detail, as well as the fire chief, which we submitted our fire permit with. We're gonna have 2 uniformed officers, same plan as always. Only difference is there's 4 or 5 more obstacles on the course. Same general course route, sticking to the same property lines, but generally mirrors the exact same plan as in June. So if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Is this one gone across Pleasant Street?
It is
like
not,
the
no,
Frog?
I know Battle Frog did. Our racers race for money and time and qualifying, so at the risk of having to stop races for traffic and affecting their time, we're gonna just stick on the property in June.
Any questions?
Was there an event sign-off event,
Yes, we have one.
we have one?
Yes.
Are we other?
Yeah, today you're rather, but we're working on that. So if you wanted to move to sign somebody,
Somebody want to make a motion to approve this?
So I'll make the motion to approve
John makes the motion, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
it.
Aye.
oh, goodness.
Any noes?
I have to sign that one too. That one's ours. This is the one that I'm gonna submit. Sorry. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you at the race.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question before they leave?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I was at the last meeting, and you had an agenda item, frog race and Spartan race, and no one showed up. Okay, I don't know what the circumstances were or anything else. And tonight, you people at least have the paperwork, you're signing off on something, okay? I imagine that's part of the planning board's responsibility. But how in the heck can you have a frog race on your Tuesday night agenda, nobody shows up, and the frog race takes part on a Saturday? They're already putting stuff up when everybody blows off the planning board in the final approval.
No, we were at a meeting with them for Battle Frog. I don't know what meeting you're talking about,
I'm
but we
talking
were
about the
there.
last planning board meeting, you were on an agenda item.
We met with them and they didn't have a quorum. And they made some phone calls or something, and I was under the understanding that it was all taken care of. But
I don't understand how you can go ahead with something when you don't have an approval. Did anybody sign off on the frog race?
absolutely.
Planning board did?
I didn't.
Well, you were at the meeting when we,
No, this was the last meeting, so that you were supposed to be in here at 7:30, and we were gonna sign off, and nobody showed up. It wasn't that we didn't have a quorum or nothing. You people didn't show up. So-
I was unaware of that.
Right.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Conservation Commission.
You were here on the
Yeah.
5th,
But the way,
this was the 19th, and nobody was here on the 19th.
the way I understood it too, that we didn't even have to come before you guys. That's what the consensus was
Right,
that-
earlier.
earlier. And I wasn't even sure why we were here, because I thought that it didn't require planning board approval the last time we had the meeting. Am I wrong, or?
No, you're right.
No, he
Why wouldn't
It's wrong.
that one require approval if this one does?
No, I think
don't
it was-
understand.
Well, there's,
So,
Who's one?
we're not sure.
I think he's
So
wrong.
Spartan.
We have an event sign-off sheet that was proposed by the Board of Selectmen. So it's for all events. So that's what we're going by. So it doesn't matter if you're Battle Frog, Spartan, the circus, whatever. They're supposed to just come before the board to make sure they have no concerns. Or if they wanted to have a special public hearing in our bylaws, we could, because it's an extensive event. But they're choosing not to, but they at least have to sign the event form. And this was put together by the Board of Selectmen. And the first time they came in, there was no forms or anything.
Yeah, we didn't have the
That's the
forms
only
signed.
reason.
Okay.
And they have the form, the names are on the form now, and that's what we're going by. But it's for everybody,
Then it gives,
you know.
Yep.
then it gives people an opportunity to ask questions, or the board members to ask questions, just like what we did. So,
That was the only,
Okay.
reasoning
So
with
you
that.
do want us here for every event?
Yeah, just to sign off, and this is what the form looks like.
Yep.
It was done by the Board of Selectmen. They have all the names on the back. So
each
Okay.
department,
if they did have a concern, they can note it on here. Or if they wanted you to come back, and in your case, they don't. But
Does someone from the event have to be here, or can someone who's representing them be here?
that's a good
I
question.
mean, I'm just puzzled why this gentleman had it from Boston, just
Right.
for a signature.
If Phil could act as the representative. I'd
Right.
ask the selectmen,
I was told I needed to be here. I was told it wouldn't be signed unless I was here. Which I'm happy to be here, don't get me wrong, but it was 5 hours out of my day. And if it could have been done without me, it would have been great. It's just, we have 2 events a year, each year, and I think they've all gone great. And we try to be as accommodating as we can. We'd like that to go both ways.
Because to me, I mean, just have someone drive from Boston for a signature is.
do you recall who told you to be here?
I
Well,
got an email from Mary Ann the way I understand, Spartan Race is on the docket, last planning board. I was told it wasn't signed because I was there.
And you said, do you have to come or anybody? I couldn't answer anybody, because when Phil came last time, he said he didn't know why he needed to be here. I checked with Faye, I said, he is the property owner, so at least have the property owner there, and she said he has no responsibility as property owner. So I didn't know who had to be here, but somebody had to be here. Okay, and as far as who, that's up to you guys, you can check
Understood.
it with the Board of Selectmen. I've already asked them.
but with some of the other companies, they have to come up from Florida,
Yep,
like Battle Frog.
Yeah, and you
I happen to have
represented
the
them.
convenience of being
Pretty,
right
pretty
there.
ridiculous to
Yeah.
have somebody from the company.
yeah.
If there's a problem, we'll talk it over. you know.
George?
It's nice to meet somebody that's gonna be in charge,
Yeah.
that's also the reason to be here.
And I
The
mean,
responsible party.
yeah,
But that person could come up anytime.
and it is a very big
Or
event,
Just make an appearance instead.
you know.
For future, meetings, let's say we're here again next June, which I hope we are, can I dial in a phone call? Would that be easy enough, just to answer questions?
Oh, I don't know. You have to
Well,
discuss that
yeah,
with the
that's, I
board.
mean, like I said, we're all set for now. This is our last one in 2016, so we can move on now to.
You got a card with you?
I do. I got a couple here.
You know, when there's short notice and like the board has questions and there's nobody there to answer them,
I'll get it back to you.
you know, that's what presents the problem, because they have nobody to ask the question
Of course,
to.
of course.
And even if they ask Mr. Stevens, he may not actually know your course race or exactly what you're doing. And that's when they get a little frustrated.
Understood, and just so you know,
Okay.
the last two events we were on the docket.
Yeah.
I was in both San Francisco and
Yeah,
Montana.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
So it wasn't me choosing not to come,
Yeah.
it was just,
Yeah.
we're trying to be as accommodating as we can. Just in the future, we want to make it a streamlined process, make it as easy as we can, so that issues like this don't come up. But
Yeah.
for now, I mean, I am here, and I was able to answer any questions, so I'm glad it's taken care of.
Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Now, get that question answered for you.
See you.
Spartan Race, public hearings. So we're gonna go with Mr. St.Germain. Couple minutes over, but
Yeah, I only 2 minutes. Look at my agenda.
John O'Leary.
Jeff Bag.
Nice to meet you.
look at
I don't want to
This is
interrupt
easy.
everything
The
over
whole protocol.
keep going on. So, I apologize, I forgot that. I'm sitting upstairs waiting for me to land.
I'm sorry. I emailed all of you like twice.
Yes, I know. I have them on my,
I know.
I just haven't read them.
You're up, Mr. St. Germain. For real this time.
Great. There you go.
You get the electric thing over there in that key house one?
Oh, Concord?
Get what?
The key-
Concord.
Yeah.
Concord?
That was, yeah, we made it back. It was an harrowing journey.
George.
Yes,
Take that.
Bill had to leave, so I'll take his place.
Oh, okay, appreciate that.
Yeah,
No, who just walked in? Davis?
Okay, the Barre Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 2nd, 2016, at 7:30 PM in Henry Woods Building, 40 West Street, Board's office, which is changed to the first floor, requested by David St. Germain, for the use of a tiny house during the construction of dwelling for a period of 1 year as cited in the Town of Barre Code 140-7, Section B-13, for property located on Old Stage Road, Assessors Map B, Lot 83. Anyone wishing to comment on this matter should attend the hearing or submit comments in writing prior to the hearing of the planning board. Dennis Fleming, Chairman. Yes, George.
I just need to know, is there a bathroom in this unit you need?
Composting?
I don't know if that's allowed.
Okay.
You do have a septic. Can you look into that septic temporary? So that involves a plumbing. It's temporary, everything's gonna be temporary, but this is the only way I think it's gonna work. So that's an issue that needs to be addressed. It still has wheels on it.
Well, I took them off.
We took them off, but if we put them on, we can classify it as a camper, so
Yeah.
a lot of other issues
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
But what's your front door, the size of the front door?
The front door, my door.
Front door? By how high?
Right there.
But,
So, I should do a site visit, because I definitely want electrical permit, because I don't know what's wired and what's not. So you need an electrical permit,
but it's low voltage.
I still need to see this, because you're gonna wire up to the generator you do have?
Not likely, no.
Not likely. But you do have a pump and a well on site, so you get the water. So it's a bathroom, needs to be connected to the septic. In low voltage, I'll talk it over with the electrical inspector and what he wants. We might still want, we just want to make sure it's safe to our standards, like carbon monoxide detector, smoke alarm. It won't make an issue, and I have to address that. So I do a site visit, and we get something there, so. This is just a temporary structure used to, where he's building his house.
So, are you putting on like any more requirements for this?
Bathroom's gonna be hooked up to the septic, and maybe electrical permit, I'll have to run that by Darrell.
I have put contingent on installation of a well,
Well, is that?
a septic system, and temporary electricity. Those were in the
All there.
conditions.
Everything's there.
Okay. And then when they're gonna be removed, I gave them a year, that's what's in the bylaws. So August, 2017. But do you need anything else on
And
there?
you gonna be there in the winter? You have a heating source?
Oh, yeah.
Well insulated?
Yeah.
These things, I've never been near it, I've never seen it before. So when I do site visit, I have no idea. We go up there. I don't think we'll have an issue with it, as long as he hooks up to the septic. And he definitely has a well with a generator.
He has a well, so it's basic. This is basically what we usually do. Those are the two conditions if you want them. You might want to discuss it, I don't know.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions on this?
What happens after your new residence is completed? What will you do with the existing structure?
Either sell it or use it for storing stuff.
Because you can't have two residences on the same lot.
It wouldn't be a residence. I think the code says that you can keep a trailer for storage purposes.
Yeah, he puts the wheels back on it, and I classify it as a camper. So he's entitled to have a camper on site, not to be used as a second residence.
Right.
For what it's worth, I have a note from the neighbor in support. if you want.
Can we keep this?
Sure. I believe Mick Cooper sent a letter as well, or said he did.
I didn't get anything else, I just checked the mail.
Maybe. Cooper?
Mick Cooper?
No?
Who's he live on the corner?
Yeah.
doesn't live there, but he owns that property.
I can just start on page if you want. Where the letter? I just didn't know if you want to add anything else, if that's fine.
Would it be contingent upon George's site visit? So nothing personal, you say you have that stuff, he's gonna see it.
I think you can give him his right to do it.
Okay.
And if it doesn't meet the requirement, he'll fix it.
Okay.
We've gone this far, I don't think we're going.
Just need to-
Anybody wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve St. Germain,
A trailer on the property, tiny house on the property.
tiny house on Old State Road.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Do you want to word it as a tiny house?
What do you want to word it as? Because I didn't know.
Camper,
How about trailer?
camper trailer.
Okay, because we've used trailer, okay.
I don't want to word a tiny house anywhere here.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
you want to use camper trailer?
Yes.
And why don't you just say with the following conditions, so we have them in the minutes, and then he can second it.
Okay. So the board will grant?
Yeah, Kurt made the motion to grant it. With the following conditions.
Approval of the tiny house is contingent upon the installation of a well, septic system, and temporary electricity, and the tiny house to be removed from site by August 2nd.
But you can get another year extension.
John said that you prefer it as a,
Camper trailer, yeah, we're gonna change that.
So approval of camper trailer is contingent upon.
Yeah,
and to remove the camper trailer.
yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
So you're changing the front page?
Yeah, I do it that way, so it makes it easier for you to sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get this permit?
How long did it take? A long time.
Took the scenic route.
The scenic
Well, you're on a scenic route.
Exactly.
About as scenic as you can get in Barre. I used to walk that road up to Connor's Pond.
It's a long way.
Been a long time ago.
So you're gonna change the wording to,
Yes, yep. Is it on the second page, or should I just put it on the first?
it's on the second page as well.
Okay, well,
See that?
what we can do is, I could just redo another one, and at your leisure, you can come in and sign it.
So why are we signing this one?
Yeah, so you don't have to fill then.
I don't know, if you want us to sign it?
Yeah, bring it back and,
I feel better if it was worded the
Okay.
correct way.
me too.
Just to,
Yeah, I'll just call you.
yeah,
Let me see if I put it.
thanks.
Yeah, I did put.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'll just call you and you just come in and just sign it, okay?
Sure.
Like, the advertise, he had said it with a tiny house, so that's what I went with. But
I was just afraid we'll have a bunch of tiny houses. They'll be popping up everywhere, yeah.
You do build tiny houses,
Like-
you see that.
Like
you know?
this here, John?
People building on the back of trucks and trailers and towing everywhere nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Is,
Oh, okay.
I don't see,
That's where the original.
okay, so
I got
he's
5
done.
minutes before the Barry Solar guys. All right. Barry Solar.
Did you wanna 5 minutes for that?
Oh, yeah, that thing was in 5 minutes, so.
Did you wanna do the minutes quick? I don't see you can see them here. You wanna do the minutes quick? Unless there's a lot to be done on it?
I don't see minutes written on it. Minutes.
No, I don't see them on the
I don't either.
Did I? Oh, there they are.
I guess we don't wanna do the minutes yet, then, right?
Well, we can, we got 5 minutes.
Okay.
So which one?
Hopefully they're not too bad, huh? Too long. It's the, July 19th. Yeah.
And that's it, the 19th?
Yeah, that's just the 19th, yeah. Waste. The tape. Yes.
I guess we'll move to the minutes, if anybody wants to read them. Any changes, submissions?
Any changes?
Nominations and
Any changes?
Here. Dennis, John, Phil Doss. John wasn't here, so John. I have no changes.
I don't have any changes, but I do have a recommendation. We voted to appoint Doug Martin to the CMRPC as the delegate from Barre. It's actually the select board who makes a recommendation, or who appoints an alternate to the CMRPC. So-
We made our recommendation, right?
So I would suggest that the planning board contact the select board
Oh, okay.
and recommend they appoint Philip Hubbard as the alternate to CMRPC.
Yeah.
Anybody else? They want to make a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes of
Second?
July 19th.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, except for John. So moved.
Okay. So we just have this one to do. And then I did get a letter in, for the West Street, you all have a copy of it.
Okay. Barry Solo, 1, 2, 3 up. You're in the hot seat. One of those has a booby trap under it. No, I'm not saying.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Cal Wilson from GPR. This is Rohit Garg from
With Community Energy.
Community Energy.
Today, we wanted to talk to you about an opportunity regarding the fence. One of the things, if you recall, everybody recalls during the discussions through the whole planning board special permit, we talked about fence in terms of alternate ideas. One of the ideas that we talked about was a typical gray fence, then we talked about a black fence, we talked about, could we have a green fence, could we talk about, maybe using, what's called a wood fence. I mean, those are all the discussions we talked about, right, and looked at alternate solutions. During that period of time, internally, Community Energy was looking at a potential alternate solution for this agricultural area type of solution. So all we're doing today is we wanted to provide you, as out of courtesy, because of the discussions we've always had, is potentially having another alternate solution that we have now internal approvals for to present to you, to show you how it would look for a project that we currently have already installed in Pennsylvania. It's about 12 acres lot. Also, we've done some renderings based on the Barre project from what we used to do with how the fence would look, the black fence, and the two sides from the West Street, and then from Brian Strelli's property. So we can show you those, just to show you again how it would look with the alternate solution. This particular solution is, we feel that it's, we had to go through a lot of process to make sure it met with the NEC code. It will still have the height requirement of 8 feet. From a security perspective, again, internally, through a lot of the financing and all that, we had to make sure that those things got all approved. So what we have here today is just to show you what the fencing potentially will look like. It's more of an agricultural fencing and less of a chain link fencing. So again, we believe this will be a better suited type of style versus a chain link fence for the agricultural look that we obviously have here. So that's what we're presenting today. So
Basically, for your consideration, I mean, if you like it, hopefully we can use it.
What was spec'd already?
chain link black vinyl fence.
And how high?
8 feet.
Is it 8 or 6?
It's 8 feet.
8 feet.
8 feet?
It's required by the state to be at least 7 feet.
Yeah.
And what is NEC?
National.
Yeah. So I have some pictures where here's the picture.
And it's just the one. Yeah.
So you're gonna put the fence up, you're gonna still put shrubs in front of it?
Yeah, we're still putting shrubs in front of it, just
Yeah.
like, well, nothing's changed, landscaping's all the same, everything else is the same. The only thing is is basically a different type of fence.
And that's deer fence.
Huh?
That's deer fence, isn't it?
It's more like, you could call it, I call it agricultural fence.
Yeah, it's a deer fence.
I was thinking chicken wire.
No,
So,
it's
so
bigger
here,
than-
here, I
bigger
have
than
extra
that.
printouts, I can pass to the group as well behind. Here's, I think, on the broadcast out.
That's the picture.
So that's the first picture I passed out is a rendering of what it would look from West Street, obviously year one, the landscaping and so forth. Here's example of what it would look like on the one view that we had from Mr. Sorelli's property line.
Which doesn't
You know, obviously.
basically see
you could-
right through the fence.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less.
More.
You see really closer, looks right through it. This particular, again, the reason why we're moving forward, we're trying to keep the aesthetics of the whole natural. Obviously, we have solar panels, but try to keep it as much as possible. We are doing, again, like I said, one in Pennsylvania has been installed. We're doing a 900-acre one in Virginia with the same style. Recently, we're doing another project in Massachusetts in Rutland, which is just a town over, and they just recently went ahead and approved the change from the chain link to this, because they looked at it as, I apologize, I don't know exact streets of it, but I can get you that information. Here is a copy of the actual project where this is located. This is in Pennsylvania, in Elizabethtown. Right across the street is Elizabeth College. So this is an actual picture, not a rendering, of a solar project that we actually currently built. This is an actual picture of the project. It's actually in Pennsylvania.
Do you have any photographs or rendering of chain link fence, the black chain link fence?
I did not bring any up, the ones from what we presented to you.
To compare?
I did not bring those, I'm sorry.
I'd rather see this than cyclone.
What?
I'd rather see this than cyclone.
Cyclone fence.
Yeah, the black stuff. or the red.
I guess I'd like to be able to see a comparison, and I had asked that before.
Well, here, I mean, I thought it was, you asked to see the rendering of this particular.
No, I asked for a
There's a
comparison
difference.
between the
It's
two.
like see-through, the other
So
one's-
basically, I just got to print
A
it.
big difference.
I can maybe have it on my laptop.
There it is,
Yeah,
right
that's what we
here.
had presented previously, right?
Oh, so
There it is, right
she
here.
has the pictures of what we
It's a
presented
big
before.
difference.
This is
Let me take this one.
the deer fence, right?
It has
Oh,
the,
the one that,
see, it has the stuff in
Chain
it.
link.
That's the
oh,
change.
okay, all right. So you don't see less fence,
Strips inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's less of the fence, more of
if they,
the,
yeah,
what's
they
behind it.
can pull out the
It's like an overview.
The only difference you'll have is you're gonna have probably 3x3 or 4x4 posts pressure treated
Those are like 6-inch diameter.
versus,
6-inch round. I would think they're gonna be a decent size, though.
Are they
It's gonna be
round?
bigger than 4x4. If anything, it'd be a 6x6.
okay, 6x6 round.
It's gonna be 8 feet high, so it's gonna be pretty steep.
So this is the chain link fence here?
Yeah.
That's the one. we
But this is not
approved.
black, this is galvanized?
Well, the,
No, it's gonna be black.
What you're showing here is not black.
I think that's what we were approved for. was the black.
The posts are.
Yeah, what we approved are for the black.
But you don't have a rendering or a photograph of a black vinyl fence?
But that's not, that's galvanized.
galvanized post.
Oh, maybe, were we approved for the galvanized instead of the black?
No, you were approved for a black as far as I remember.
Yeah, no,
The black is where.
Black. that's the intention.
I guess my concern, can I,
Yep.
is, I think we're trying to hide the panels of sight. And I know you're gonna be doing some landscaping, but the landscaping is gonna take a while to mature to the height that's gonna screen the panels. And I don't see that an agricultural fence does much screening itself.
I think that's true, I think that's a trade-off, you don't get as much gain.
How much cheaper is this fence that you're proposing than the other fence? How much money is it saving you?
Well, again, I don't think we're not honestly looking at it from a cost perspective. We're presenting this to you guys as, because of the conversations we've had for a long period of time about the fence. And we want to just make sure that this is more of the environment it's more of a farmland. We know that, we understand that. We're trying to just provide some consistency of being that good neighbor, of trying to give you guys alternate solutions. Because of the dialogue we've had, the number of dialogues we've had about this particular topic. I think this came to my attention that we were allowed to approve this, and so I felt that it was our best interest to present this to you, because again, I apologize, I don't know your name. Frank. But a lot of the board members we've had, and everybody behind me, I know that we've had this conversation numerous times about the type of fence we're going to install.
I don't recall that being an issue about the type of fence.
We were talking through different colors. Remember we talked
Okay,
about
we're still
green,
talking about
black.
a cyclone fence. We were
Yeah, we
talking
always
about
talk about
color,
chain link
but I never hear anything about an alternative.
Well, we
fence.
talked about wood. Remember one time somebody asked us, could we just put basically a wood fence around the whole thing?
John?
We talked about that. We talked about slats.
Well, two things. First, I mean, we already approved the fence, so I don't know why we're back again.
Okay.
And second, I'd really like to hear what the abutters have to say, their opinion on if they would
Black
like.
people wouldn't have to give it to you.
That's what was approved, that's what we agreed on, was the black chain link. I think that's what you should stick with.
Mr. Gromowski?
Yes, I've been here once or twice on this issue. Getting pretty sick of it, as I'm certainly sure you are. They fall under the standards that you people established, okay? And basically, under J3, design standards, fencing shall be black, PVC coated, limited to 7 feet, no barbed wire and anything else. I never heard options from you people.
Honestly, this just came up.
Well, we just came up,
Just
okay,
became
so
aware
now
it
the
was.
chicken's out of the coop, you got your special permit,
No, no.
and you're gonna come in here looking to save money. That's wrong. As neighbors and abutters, we have talked with you people, we have worked, and we built a coalition to say,
You have.
we work things out,
And that's
okay?
why
And we've
and that's
been
why
good
we're here.
neighbors.
That's
And
why
Mr.
we're here.
Lipson was here last meeting, you couldn't see a foot in front of you from the dirt up there, when they were moving it around. Definitely dust pollution, okay? They had to go to the Board of Health.
John?
What are you
That's
guys
why we're
doing
here.
up
If
here?
you guys say you don't want it, and the board doesn't want to do it, then it won't change.
Okay.
I think we just need to discuss.
I can speak
the
for
fence
myself,
right
I don't want it. I want this in the
Well, that's why
stand.
we're asking.
I think we just need to discuss the fence right now because that's a separate issue. I'd like to make a motion that the fence stay as was approved, the black fence, because that's what was approved initially when we came in. We've gone round and round with this solar farm for such a long time. It seems like periodically you guys come back with another change.
This is our first
It's the
time.
first time.
Well, with the fence, but other times you guys have been back and forth with.
No, I think it's during the approval process.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Frank seconds. Any discussion?
I have a question about the height. What was specified in the approval, you know? The height?
The plans show 8 feet.
I believe it was 8 feet because we didn't want the barbed wire.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, yeah, I know you didn't like the barbed wire.
Yeah,
Well,
we've never presented proposed photo.
And it was 8 feet.
Yeah.
Sam?
Thank you very much. You know, I'd like to make a suggestion, if I may. Is that any company that wants to come in and promote something, they usually come in and bring a sample. I think it might be a good idea for them, to ask them to write on West Street, or on the sides, whichever place that you would want, have them put up a 20-foot section of whatever fence the Phil wants, blue, green, yellow, whatever it is, and a 20-foot section of this fence, because I want you to know something, is that someone here mentioned to me that chain link fence looks like very institutional, almost like a guardhouse or a prison or something, when in fact, with bushes, if they put bushes up big enough, you won't even see the fence. You're only concerned about its security. You're not, the fence isn't gonna be a visual impairment, because you're not gonna see it. You're worried about the security. So if they came up and put up a secure section of 20, 30 feet of this new fence, and 20, 30 feet of the other fence, and everybody will be able to see, and they won't have to look at pictures, and then, so this doesn't get decided this minute, it gets decided in 2 weeks. But I think the dust issue was a concern. That,
All right, we're not talking about the dust.
oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. So that's my suggestion. I'm sorry for
Brian?
going on.
I just think we as neighbors are the ones that are going to be looking at this, and we still don't consider it an attractive site, the panels themselves, and we would like to see what we originally thought was going to be put there with the black vinyl coated fence, because until the bushes grow, I don't know about anybody else, but I prefer seeing as little of the solar panels as possible.
I agree.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Mr. Gromowski?
Just a point of clarification, I was always under the assumption we agreed on trees and not bushes or shrubs, and certain heights of the trees, and there was gonna be a planting
We
between
did agree
those.
on all of that, and it's all specified in the plan.
You've got trees now, not bushes.
You've got both.
Both. I think the abutters on Elm Street side got trees and stuff, and Mr. Urban?
In regards to the trees and the bushes, have you planned out the height and growth and how many years and like how long before you expect that to fill in?
Yeah, we did all that as part of our approval process.
Have you been able to present to these people what they expect to see? I was
Yeah.
just, okay, I just wanted to double check if anything
We went over all that.
changed from that.
Quite a bit of detail. No, nothing's changed.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No?
No.
One no, the ayes have it.
And I just want to say one thing, and people are upset at us for bringing this forward. The reason we did is because we thought that that was the process. That if we wanted to make a change, we owed it to you and to the town to come back and present it. So that people could say yes or they could say no. And we're fine with it. We thought it was an attractive alternative. It doesn't screen as much, so I could see why Brian's not as happy with it. That's fine. Don't have any problem with that.
Sir?
From a procedural standpoint, okay, when we started this thing way back when, last May or whatever, okay, every time there was gonna be a change or a rescheduled meeting, they had no problem with sending out a registered letter to the abutters, okay? I wonder how many people that are abutters that have an interest in this even know that this is coming up tonight. You wanna talk about changes, have a public hearing. Let the abutters know what you got in mind, why you're proposing it. not coming in the back door.
Appearing in a public meeting is not considered coming in the back door, and public hearings are for very specific filings that you make under statutory requirements. And a minor change like this is not considered a public hearing.
Mr. Goldsmith, this isn't a minor change for us people. It's 29 acres that have been raped and destroyed. Okay, this isn't minor. You may consider a minor change with a tree. That's devastating. Have you been up there?
Yes,
Were you
I have.
there today? Why don't we all have a site visit again? All of us go up there and take a look. All of us. Any abutters, anybody that has any concerns at this point?
Everything that's being done on the site is what was approved in the plans. We're cutting trees, we're taking brush out, and it's also in the middle of a drought. So yeah, it is dry. We've been having water trucks 3 times a day on the roadways to try and keep the dust down. I'm not sure if it's been adequate or not. It sounds like it hasn't been. But the contractors have been making an attempt to keep the dust down as much as they can.
Mr. Chairman, that's
Yes,
not
sir.
true. They didn't have a water truck on site. Somebody had to go down, hire the ones doing the common to go up and wet it down the first time after Sam's tenants were complaining. Rightfully so, they should have been.
That's right. But then they responded and they brought water trucks.
Well, you make it sound like they had the water truck there and they
There
didn't
was an
until
issue
they
with
were
it.
called
There was an
on.
issue, I understand that. And
Yeah,
the
Rick.
contractor should have brought them in sooner, and they didn't, but then they remedied.
John?
Since this issue was settled, perhaps we can move on to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sam has, you still have something, or?
Yeah, I'm on the agenda as well,
Well, let's move yours to the agenda then.
however we do this.
Right, you're next.
Okay, I don't mind speaking right now. I don't have to come
To
up,
keep
do I?
for posterity.
You can if you'd like to,
No, I don't mind standing right here.
okay?
I don't mind sitting right here. You know what?
Thank you.
I was contacted by my tenants in regards to the dust. And Rohit called them and thought very courteously that Rohit shared with them how compassionate he was about the dust. However, what I'm saying is that Rohit is the developer, and these people, these folks in Dolson, should have received a letter from the company with an explanation of their compassion for them and sorry that this happened, and it won't happen again. And we will pay for, because Rohit called them on the phone and said that they'll pay to have their house power washed, the windows done inside and out, the house cleaned as necessary. However, that comes from Rohit. However, I think we need to get something from the company, because it seems like these people here are the face of the company, and so far they haven't shown a very good face because there's been a lot of dust. And there's been a lot of other issues. So I think we need to be communicating with the company to see what's going on going forward. I think someone's mentioned about having a site walk is a good idea. And then we might make some decisions after the site walk. Maybe we want them to change something. Maybe I think first of all, I can't imagine nobody in this committee in all this time ever have taken a ride up there or walk up there. Maybe you all have, I don't know.
It says keep out.
But
What
I've
does that
been,
mean?
I've been there, and I think you guys, you folks here, have a fiduciary responsibility to the town to go up to see what you guys have approved. I'm there every day. I don't walk into the area because there's a cop there. But I'm there.
Pardon me, Mr. Lipson.
Yes.
On the agenda, we have Sam Lipson submit a letter regarding the Barre Solar 1, 2, and 3. Do you have a letter you were submitting to us?
There was a letter given to this department.
You mean, is that the Dolson letter? that, because you,
Well, I got one from.
There
I
was
got
another-
one
there was
from a
another one.
Darrell Taylor.
There was
oh,
another
Darrell
letter.
Taylor, oh, Darrell Taylor.
Yeah.
Was that the one?
Yeah, that's the one.
The Darrell Taylor letter.
So that's the letter that you're referring to as submitted.
Yeah, that was given to the, that
Okay,
was
so-
given to the Planning Commission, Conservation Commission,
I'm gonna get
and,
Sam right now.
and it was given to the selectmen.
Hold on a minute.
Are we talking about dust or are we talking about tree cutting?
Well, first of all, would you explain to the board who Darrell Taylor is?
Darrell Taylor works with me. He does odd jobs for me. He does some painting. He works at my farm sometimes. He does part-time. He uses my farm mainly to cut wood. He has wood delivered to my farm because he doesn't have big enough space. And he cuts it there and he brings it over with my tractor. And I've known him quite a long time. And he came to me and he was disappointed because he had seen a big tree being cut down. And he shared with me that, and I said, well, why don't you just write a letter? I said, you write nice narratives, I've seen. So he wrote this letter, and regarding the tree issue, because that tree was like 150, 200-year-old tree. And it was important to me, I guess it was important to him, I think it was important to the abutters because it provided a lot of shade and a lot of visual block.
Have you come to terms with these gentlemen on that tree incident, or where do you stand with that?
Well, we haven't really come to any terms, but I let them know that I'm quite disappointed that they didn't show the property, nor did they show me the respect that, and they didn't show the tree the respect that it deserved, because they could have avoided doing what they did, but they didn't do it, and now I lost this big, beautiful tree.
What they ought to do is go up there and cut the 2 apple trees down. That'll keep everybody quiet.
No, that'd be really disappointing.
I know,
And
that's too
then they'd have to, I'd yell so loud that they'd have to put me in jail.
Well, they nearly did, because I'm looking at a police report here that's like 3 pages long.
Well, I don't know about where you got that police report, but
It's public knowledge.
I don't know if that's public knowledge.
Yeah, but.
I want to,
Freedom of information.
Dennis, I want
Yes,
you
it
to know,
is.
I don't know if that particular report is public knowledge. How's that sound?
Freedom of information.
And I think that you might have accessed it illegally or improperly. That's my
Neither.
opinion.
Well, that's your
That's
opinion.
my opinion.
I submitted a letter through Freedom of Information
Okay.
for a copy of the police report of what happened at that solar project.
Well, I don't know if that police report is actually accurate. Well, first of all, it's a police report, but I don't believe it's accurate because I believe there was some misrepresentations made by the officer, Officer Waugh.
Hey, that's serious.
And I think, well, I don't know, it just seems
He ain't
like,
even in the meeting here.
No, Sam,
That even be discussed.
no, no, look.
This, we shouldn't even be
This is
discussing.
a
No, but I don't know what
planning-
it
this
is,
a
but it
planning
seems
board
like,
Yes.
He's not in here and he can't defend
well,
himself.
he doesn't have to defend him, all I'm saying is that there appears to be, in this police issue,
Yes.
Just a question, do you have any comments on this tree issue?
Yeah, the tree was within the area that was always designated to be cut. And our arborist was the guy doing the cutting, he was a registered arborist, and he said the tree was diseased, and there was no reason to say it was old, but it was diseased. And it was supposed to be cut down as part of the plan.
All right.
well, I don't believe it is, but we have a discussion.
Done with this letter before.
So as far as, I want to be clear about this police report.
Sam,
Dennis,
excuse me, Sam. Let's not even discuss.
No,
that.
I'd like to
No,
discuss
no,
this.
no.
We don't want to listen to it.
The officer here.
No, maybe without, maybe the police
No,
chief needs to be
Sam.
here too.
Sam, we need not to discuss this.
Okay. Well, you're saying something that's not true.
Well, that's one side.
Nobody said that this is true, accurate, inaccurate, or anything.
Oh, excuse me, I thought you were saying that that's accurate.
I said this is a police report, period.
Oh, okay, now I understand. All right, so you're
That
saying
had,
that...
that had to do with tree cutting.
Yes, it
That's all.
Yes, it did.
That's all I said, Sam. Okay.
Told him I was so upset that I called him to call the police.
Can I have quiet in the room, please? Thank you.
You have a question, Dennis?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Joanne.
I have a question for Mr. Lipson. When you started this project a year and a half, 2 years ago, you signed a contract with those folks to come in and put in a solar field. All of us neighbors kind of got together and said, we don't want it, but it went through anyway. My question to you, Sam, is, once you sign that contract for them to do what they need to do to put in that solar field, why are you still fighting it? I guess I don't understand that part.
Well, I'd like to respond,
Okay,
please.
please?
But I'd like to respond with both of those folks here.
Well, you
I
can't
don't
make
believe
them
they're
do
here.
anything.
No, but I'm gonna ask them to come back.
No, they're leaving. They're leaving. They've chosen to leave.
By the way, I'd like you guys to come here and listen to this, if you could.
Can we ask Sam to be,
They've chosen to
to
leave.
be escorted
Let
out?
it
No,
go.
but they
The
asked...
question was directed to you, Sam,
Okay.
just to see what your position is on it, that's all.
Well, I just want them to hear my position.
They can watch it on TV.
Oh, okay. So what was the question again now?
When you signed the contract with the solar folks, you knew that they were gonna have a say as to what happened, to the property, to the trees, to the stone walls, to everything. You must have agreed to it because you signed that contract. And now, you seem to be fighting it all. What do you expect to come out of this? I mean, where does it end?
They sold me, and they sold the board equally, that they were gonna produce a product that would be environmentally friendly to the neighborhood, would not be cutting every single tree that they did, especially in the back of 179 and 171. They would respect the people on Elm Street. They would respect Brian Sorelli. They would respect all of the people on West Street. It would look attractive. It would be producing some money for the town. I will be leasing the land. They called what they were doing to be the gold standard. That's what they claim. And that's Rohit Garg's words. That this is going to be, in fact, I took him over to the one near Four Corners sometime. And he didn't like the way it looked, and he was unhappy the way it looked. So we're expecting that it would look attractive, that we're expecting that you won't even know it's there. It'll be just another woods. That's what we have, that's what they've mentioned to me that they're trying to do. But what really struck me a little uncomfortable is that the contractors that they brought in didn't know enough that they have to use some dust control. And then, without me knowing, they cut this big tree where the arborist said it was old or new or rotted or not rotted. They had an opportunity to talk to two people. They had an opportunity to talk to me and said, we really need to cut this tree, and this is the reason why, and this is what we're going to do. And then they had an obligation to talk to the people in the conservation department, Ron Rich. And they didn't do anything, they just did it indiscriminately, without anybody knowing, and without anybody seeing. And we don't expect that kind of service from a company that comes in to make money on our land, lots of money on our land.
Mr. Batisi?
Sam, I go to Sam directly.
So my response,
Did you sign a contract for them people?
yes, I did.
Well, why are we having this discussion? Everything, you have nothing to do with that property now.
Well, this.
You gave it to them.
The planning board has something to do with it. And
They
they're
signed off.
disappointed, and they're disappointed, and they should be disappointed, and they should have a site walk, and they should be disappointed that they cut that tree down on all the related.
Is this all for one tree? Just for one tree? We're doing all this discussion for one tree?
It was important to me.
Phil?
Why did you mark it not to cut?
They were told not to cut it by the conservation. They were told not to cut it, anything north of any area, they were told not to cut. It was already discussed with us. Don't cut anything north of any area. Yes, 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 yes. All of a sudden they get there and it's cut.
Phil?
I was on site today, along with Dennis Fleming, and talked to the site manager. I believe his first name is Zachary. I didn't get his last name. We talked about the tree. You said it was rotten inside and that it was in the location of one of the panels. So I just,
That's not correct.
well, I just want to let you know that we were on the site today.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you, I
Okay.
appreciate that. Did you notice anything else that you may want to share with the public?
It's a vast area. It's going to be a huge project.
Yes, sir.
I'm relatively new here, but I'd like to just add that, you know, I reviewed the plans as well, and I think that you have not really provided any information about where the tree was located, but all the evidence suggests that it was within the area shown on the plan as to be removed. And I think that the planning board most likely did their diligence in approving that plan and reviewing it, and I don't see them as being uncomfortable with the plan. So far, it's being developed per the plan, and I think procedurally, if there's an issue during construction after the special permit's been issued, it's an enforcement action through the building commissioner's office. So that's really your recourse after the planning board approves the special permit. If there's an issue with them not building according to the plan, it goes to the building commissioner. And I think that I'm relatively new here, but I think that the solar company came before the board appropriately at a public meeting to show the change to the fence. This board had the authority to say whether or not that was a minor change or a substantial change. So I think that sitting here for the first time, everything I've seen seems to be working well. And I do know firsthand that as soon as the dust complaint was filed, that the company started to respond and did the best they can. And if it's still not appropriate, then I think your course of action is with the building commissioner to seek further sort of dust remedies.
Thank you.
Final comment. This thing has been going on and on and on. The planning board has spent a substantial amount of time, not only on this application, but also in developing what I think are great standards for what solar parks can go. I got great confidence in the planning board, and if it's outside of the special permit, then they can get involved with the enforcement and the building inspector and anything else. Whatever Mr. Lipson's got with the company, well, that's a sidebar agreement. That's between them, as Mr. Petit said, and Joanne as well, okay? But I think the planning board has really done a yeoman's job here. And before I leave with the new planner here, and I'll just mention this one more time, and I think it comes into play tonight. We talked back last December when that priority list was drawn out. It's time that we draw up some kind of a flow chart on every one of these special permits, when they come in, who's gonna sign off on them, when they signed off. So when the thing comes in front of you, whether it's for a trailer tonight or whatever, you know, I hear the building inspector at that time saying, well, you know, the septic and that, well, in my day, the Board of Health was the only one that could approve the septic. If it's approved, fine. If you have a flow chart to watch it, when you people get something like this, I think it'll be very helpful.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah.
Dan?
Frank Gromowski said maybe we'd like to have a site visit. Perhaps you'd like to schedule one.
Oh, liability is too strong.
You want to do a site visit? No? No? You already done all?
I saw the site
already
today,
saw it. Doug, did you wanna do a site visit?
It might not be a bad idea to go out and take a look at what's been done so far, spread the plans out and see what it's gonna look like when it's finished.
A weekend afterwards, come up with a time to do it. If anybody wants to participate. Yes, sir.
Who's paying for the extra police that they've needed up there?
The contractor. Every day there's a patrolman there and has been for a couple of weeks.
And what's the reason they need the police there? Isn't that a little out of the ordinary?
I would recommend asking the police chief.
But the town isn't paying for it?
Not a penny.
Okay.
Good question. So we'll discuss after to do a site visit with Mr. Lipson. Yes.
I understand the site contractor anticipates being finished next Tuesday or Wednesday. So I would get something as soon as possible.
Before then, yeah.
Before then.
We can talk right after. Or you want to talk about it right now?
Thursday,
What's today, Tuesday? Thursday?
Friday?
Any particular time for you? Any particular time?
Friday's better for me,
What time Friday?
anytime.
10 o'clock? 10 o'clock Friday.
Yeah,
With
that's
your permission, Mr. Lipson.
Or anytime.
Friday at 10 a.m.
Friday at 10 a.m.
That's
site
fine.
visit.
I think I don't know if I need to be there, but I'll try to be there. Friday at 10 a.m.
We're just gonna walk up.
I do have a question. But the
Well,
site
can
man,
I jump in? I guess just to clarify the board's purpose for the site visit,
Yeah.
I think you should clarify your purpose for it, and I think, you'd then be inviting an abutter onto the property where, does he own the property? I guess I'm following up here with some questions, but,
He
Yes.
leased the property out to the solar place.
okay.
So technically, you're gonna have to notify the solar place whether you can go on their property or not.
Right.
Because it's a great liability for the board members to go there and something happens.
Right, and I just think, again, clarifying the reason for your going, I think, the building inspector's here, I think he does play a role in ensuring that they are developing the site in accordance with the plan.
I know
So-
Conservation was there recently, and they put up all the skirt perimeter, what do they call it?
Still fencing, right?
Yes, that's all up now. And that looked like they did a good job with that. Had you seen that, George?
Yeah, I had seen that, and it is a liability, so you have to notify the site people that you want to do a site visit, because they have the legal right to do
Right,
that.
Phil and I stopped today, we could see where they were and walked over, and the site foreman, Zach, I don't know, remember his last name, we kind of just stood right there, we didn't go really around the whole project or any of that, but he had explained to us and showed us a few
Because
things.
a safer site visit is when they pull out, that would be the time to go.
Yeah, most of the big stuff, actually,
No, I
that
saw
big
some.
shredder's gone now, and there's just like a couple of small backhoes around, and some of the equipment's down the other way, so there's nothing around the
They'll
immediate
probably
area.
let you on the site without it.
We can ask them if they say
No, I
no.
don't think it's an issue, but if they're working there, it would be.
Yeah. Well, looked like most of the big stuff got hauled out already, so.
I think Doug has a point. What would be the purpose of the site visit?
Right. Sam?
I'd like to comment in regards to what Phil said, that he spoke to the site manager, and he said the reason why the tree was gone is because that's where one of the panels would be. I believe that's an error. I believe that he gave Phil improper information, and I would just like to comment on that there was no reason whatsoever, other than the convenience of the equipment for those stands of trees to be removed. And I'd
Do we
like to
know
go-
We're going back,
I'd like to
hopping
go
on
on
these
the
two
record
damn
about
trees.
No, it's a whole group of trees, and maybe I'd like to show you, that's all.
Well,
I'd like very much to show you, I have that option, don't I?
Right, you've said it several times now, so we're gonna move on from that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when is the site visit?
We're discussing that right now, Sam.
Okay, good. I'll be there.
I guess my question is, what is the purpose of the site visit? I mean,
If any of the
Jeff-
other
Jeff
members
was just
wanted to
asking
see
that.
what was going on.
Well, I think just specifically with regard to the trees, if that's the nexus to get you to the site, it's unclear to me, and I reviewed the file that
It has
you guys
nothing
had.
to do with us.
Right, well, it's unclear to me where the tree was. This tree in question doesn't seem to be located, the letter references some aerial photographs that aren't in this letter at least, so I don't know if that would be the purpose, to go to the site, to view the location of the tree with the plans which show all the areas of clearing. That would be, to me, reasonable to determine the location of the tree, but other than that, I mean, I think you'd be just generally observing the site, but I think it's gonna be a large construction site. But I think if the purpose is to determine whether the tree was on the plan or not, then it may focus your attention at the site.
I know, and that's nitpicking because,
We did look at the plan and look at all the trees too.
Yes.
right, but we don't know specifically which one. I mean, it's he said, she said.
Well, when we looked at the
We're
plan
not
of the location of the barn, which is I think where the tree was around,
Close
somewhere near
to
the
it,
barn, the survey shows several trees.
There's still
that are-
several
that are
trees there.
individually identified on the site plan, and then it shows large swaths to be cleared. So I think that there's a little bit of confusion as to which tree this is or where it was.
Right. So
I don't think the planning board can technically go on their property and do anything, because the planning board already signed off on that property. Everything now is up to the building inspector to check that. Correct, George?
Most of it.
Right, the planning board has signed off, so they only technically have no right to go up there and say, well, that tree shouldn't have been cut, because they've turned it over to the contractor.
Yes, Sam.
On page 2 of this document that you guys call findings and decisions, it says, tree clearing will be required, and it lists all the places that it's going to be required. In the area that I'm speaking about, it does not list that it's in that area. So they would be mandated, based on this agreement, to cut trees within the area that's been specified, and any area that hasn't been specified, they would have to get permission from the planning or the conservation.
They don't need our permission.
Excuse me, then conservation and Sam Lipson.
Well, no, it's not near.
It's between you
And they
them.
didn't get anybody's approval, and that was those were some of the trees that are marked on the plan to consider. There's writing right on the plan about trees along the road, and there's writing on the specific plan. If you want to see it, I have a copy of the plan right here. It says, it speaks to those specific trees along the road. That's all.
Okay, now,
I don't want to be a hard ass here, but I think that the town needs to pay attention.
I think the town is paying very good attention.
Okay, God bless.
Moving on. We're not gonna discuss number 4 because our town attorney isn't here. We've already done number 5 with Jeff, so we'll move to old business. Is there any old business?
Maybe not. They were in here at this board a couple years ago. If anybody's been up on Williamsville Road, John Hattie's, across, they've cut all the trees there were on the left-hand side going down through there. From Kelly's property down to David Lamb's. That whole section has all been cut. They're in there now chipping it. There was a big buffer zone in the front, gravel bank, fill. Somebody went in, they were not to take that down until they had a plan of where the water was gonna go, come down through there. That's all been bulldozed out. Anderson has got a chipper up there and everything, and you're up there tripping all that brush and everything. They do have a cutting plan. There was a vernal pool up there that somebody had got into a couple years ago, and they had to take them out. They can't find that vernal pool now. And this is the state has gone in there and told them, go ahead and cut it. But to get in there, technically, they would have to go in by John Hardy's house, because they were not to open that bank up. So if you had a 6 inches of rain tonight, that whole hill will wash out and right into the road. And I believe the conservation knows about it, but the planning board would have to give them a permit to open that up to come out into the road. And there's no permits nowhere.
Why is the planning board involved?
Because there was an opening into the road. So here's a big buffer zone.
Was there a stone wall break, or?
There was a little bit of stone wall there, but they just took that all right out. It opened up.
Is that a scenic road?
I believe it is. Williamsville Road, Mary Ann?
I have to
Williamsville?
look it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's scenic road. Something's gotta be done.
Does the building inspector have jurisdiction over?
I don't know.
Or not, mine cancel.
Do you know anything about
I
that?
don't think we're gonna do that.
You're not doing it?
No.
Okay.
So
I
he-
did happen to go by Saturday, but it almost looked like they would need a gravel operation from it.
Yeah,
It dug right into the roadside.
right.
First I've heard about,
But everything else is all cut.
I wonder if any of that washed across the road.
could have as of today.
Yeah, that wouldn't be kosher.
I don't see Williamsville Road on the scenic road list, if that makes any difference.
That's kind of a secondary road, but it's heavily traveled.
Didn't we do a stop order up there a few years back?
What?
Stop work order a few years
Right.
back?
That was,
And did it get squared away back then?
no, never did.
Because they were just going like crazy,
Yeah, because he got caught in the vernal pool and they had to get him out of there.
and that's what stopped.
And that's what stopped it.
Oh, is,
And he was from Hubbardston. I won't say who it was, but,
But they got a new cutting plan to do the,
from what I heard from Ronnie Rich was that they had a cutting plan and then the state gave them a cutting plan.
we don't get notified.
I guess not.
The conservation does, and they review it, but did you want one?
I didn't see it.
No, were you supposed to get notified? They sent
Not
one to
necessarily,
them.
not necessarily. But to me, it looks like they started digging into the gravel up there.
Right, they would-
So that, to me, would be a planning board issue. But I just noticed that Saturday.
because the gravel's all gone over there, because it was a good
Too
buffer.
late to do anything.
Not necessarily.
If you send us a letter,
I'll take a look at it and see what's going on first. But the other part was the conservation.
yeah, actually, they just saw it too. We're good all of that, if less than that.
But it looks like they dug in for a reason.
Well, it was pretty steep to pack a trailer truck up there, so they dug it out.
find out what they did after.
I will check it out.
Oh,
I don't know what they did. Thanks, George. Correspondence other than that, is that it? May want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Eight
Any
thirty-five.
discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.
I gotta congratulate you guys.